Welcome back to the Bad Influence Racing channel, where we are working on the 2020 build series of the next Bad Influence, our 5th generation Camaro powered by a 526 Hemi and a 114mm turbo. If you've been following along, you know that we are going to be doing a blow-through carburetor on this with our 114mm turbo. And today we are going to be building the intake manifold for the Hemi. Nobody makes a really good carbureted intake manifold for these heads, since we are running the Ken Venny heads on this. This is a Venny headed Hemi. So I'm going to show you kind of what we have here, what we're going with, and take you along on the journey. So right now we are getting the intake, the plenum is all welded up here, and we are getting the intake manifold set for the correct heights for the runners. Now if you see, there's a couple of runners already welded on and short, and if you've seen on some Facebook stuff, like about 3 months ago I started building this intake manifold and I made a mistake and I ended up welding it completely crooked, so I stopped and cut it apart. I'm trusting you guys. Don't tell my wife I was wrong, okay? She doesn't know this and she doesn't watch all of these, so nobody tell her that I said I was wrong, okay? Thanks. So what we have is, this is a WineLi intake manifold from WineLi Motorsports. They are in Cleves, Ohio. WineLi Motorsports is in Ohio. They built this here, so I welded together the plenum. They supplied runners that go down here, and then they cut the flanges for us that are right here. I put the slots in for our bolts that are there, so that we'll have that there. And right now we are getting, like I said, the final height set, and then we will work on our runners here and this side. Once we get a couple tacked in place, we can take those spacers out and then we'll get everything going. So follow along with us while we get some runners on here and get the upper side of the plenum made for the carburetor, and we'll even get the carburetor set on there. So forgot to grab the camera again. My apologies. I'm over at the welding table and we have 3 of the center 4 runners fit, and we got to that point where we said, okay, let's weld a bunch of this up. That way we don't have runners in the way when we're trying to weld everything in place there. When you get the outer runners on, it's hard to get your torch inside there. So I'll show you what we have. We have our flanges, as you saw. We've got our runners. We have one fit here that's going to be, that was one of my, where I made a mistake before. So we have part of the runner, and then we've got an extension that we welded on, so we're going to weld that and then we will port it out on there. This one is not done. Then we have these 2 that are fit in and tacked in place on there. This one was cut too short, and hey, it happens. So we took another piece there, extended it, welded it around, and then on the inside, on all of these, we will end up grinding everything out when it goes on there for final on there. So these are all getting welded on the inside here, and they will be welded on the outside as well. Same thing in the corners here. These are all welded on the outside. We're going to come back through and weld everything on the inside. May even put a gusset in here, just a small one, to help with the boost, trying to not push this out. Somebody has even told me, like, hey, run almost like a spray bar, where you'd have something that goes through here and through here that runs through like that. But my problem is with the blow-through carb application, I don't want that to hurt any fuel distribution. So that's where we're sitting right now. It's Saturday evening, and I just ran out of argon. So I have another bottle, I believe, somewhere. But I've been at this for about 8 or 9 hours today, so I'm going to call it a day. We're going to pick it back up tomorrow on Sunday morning and keep going and get this done. It is Sunday. I told you we were going to come in and do some welding on our sheet metal intake, and we have. So we have our sheet metal intake here. Got it welded up. Got everything on there. We started to cut apart to fit this tube over here. It was a little bit too long to be able to fit everything in there, and then we decided we're not going to use it. So we're going to change our idea around. We were having a problem with this intake. It was having a little bit of warpage on there, and then a friend of ours, a couple of friends have actually reached out and said, hey, with the amount of boost you're going to be running, you're probably going to flex that intake apart on there and blow some seams, or even blow the aluminum apart. Jim Gray from Bullet Race Engines reached out and was explaining some stuff on there, and he, gave us a little bit better insight going, okay, if you're running 35 PSI of boost, that's 35 pounds per square inch, how many square inches do you have on there that's constantly pushing against that, and is that going to be strong enough? Okay, that's a really good point. I didn't think of, break it down to the go down to the basics of, okay, PSI, how many inches do you have, everything like that. So when it was explained to it that way, I went, all right, that's a good idea. That's I understand. So what we are going to be doing is that there. We are actually going to use the original blower manifold that we got with this engine here, which is a Ken Venny magnesium blower manifold. But we are going to build, it'll be a couple of different plates that are going to go on here. We're going to mill some of the stuff here off, back a little bit, get it so it bolts down, and then it'll have, we're going to use at least 1/4 inch plate to then come up, and we will have obviously our carburetor flange and everything on there all welded on, so that way it can handle the boost. So it's going to come up a little bit, but the nice thing is this lowered the entire height of the carburetor down about 2 inches, so we should be able to get almost everything under the hood, or maybe just a little bit sticking out there. And then if we do have it stick out, we'll just take this here. It's a little dusty right now, but we'll take this and have it powder coated, probably like a matte or something on there, so that way we don't get any shine inside to there. So that's where we're going right now. We're going to take this off and go over to the mill and do some milling on here. Al's over here working on the brakes. He's been putting together the brakes here. We new rotors for the aerospace brakes on there, getting everything on, and then you have new Superior bearings, correct?
Superior micro polished bearings in there with their nanotechnology grease.
There we go. That's what we're going to be looking at, and let's go start milling. We're back. We're over on the mill right now, and we're going to show you kind of what our idea is for this lower/blower intake manifold to make this into our blow-through carbureted manifold. This is an original Ken Venny intake manifold for a blower. It is magnesium, so what that means is it's going to machine a lot like aluminum on there. The one thing that you do have to be careful of, and when I say careful, I'm going to air quote that as careful, is magnesium. If it does start on fire, it gets hot to start on fire, the only way to put it out is to suffocate any oxygen on there. Even if you throw it under water, it burns so hot that it will actually boil the water and burn the oxygen off of that. So but you have to be like I called my buddy Chuck today. I've known him for a very long time, and he's another machinist, Chuck Rosted. He said you basically have to turn this thing 4,000 RPM in reverse and try to drill a hole through there to get it hot enough to do that. So we're pretty good there. Thanks for following along so far, guys. The intake manifold, I'm going to continue to mill on there, but as you can tell, I'm milling a whole bunch off of this blower manifold, and we're all done with it. We're going to show you that too. We're actually going to make this a 2-part deal because we're going to build the upper plenum and everything and show you guys that as well. So I'm going to continue to machine that. I've already, as you've seen, it's cut in and out, and I've got different shirts on, things like that. I've been working on it after work. About probably 6 or 7 hours of milling on this, and measuring, making sure everything is right on there. So got a bunch of work into it, but we hit our 100 subscriber mark, and as of when I just did everything, we were sitting at 122 subscribers. So thank you. I truly do mean it. Thank you to everybody that subscribes, and if you share our stuff, thank you as well. I'm going to say thank you more if you share it. So but we went ahead and we had 122. We put it into a random generator, 1 to 122. We pulled up all of our subscribers on there. We hit the randomizer, and then we counted through, and the winner of our deal is Brianna Yagi, and I apologize if I am pronouncing that incorrectly, but Brianna Yagi, I'll put your name here. Go ahead, send us a message. You can comment on here or send us a message on Facebook on our Bad Influence page, or however. Let us know where we need to send it, what we have for you. A couple of things. We have the I Am a Bad Influence flat bill snapback hat. You can also do it as a curved bill. We've got some of our Bad Influence decals right there. And we also have a nice big one, so if you want to put that up in the garage or something, more power to you. But also let us know what size shirt you wear. Our new shirts, with the coronavirus, everything like that that's going on, had to be postponed for just a little bit with some things going on there. But we do have some of our previous shirts. Our Paradigm Racing shirt, and then it had the old car on the back. We're going to throw one of those in there. It's a Bad Influence. That's the original car that we had. That was the nitrous car that is now in Ohio, and it is a turbo car. We had an awesome saying on there, which is fitting now that the Ford versus Ferrari came out. What's behind you doesn't matter. Enzo Ferrari. Let me know what size you wear. We'll ship all of that out to you. Again, thank you very much, everybody that watches. Stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to show how to build the top plate for our new intake manifold. We just got the aluminum in today. For that, it is all 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch plate, so it's a very thick aluminum to make sure that nothing is going to move around, as we were having problems with the original stuff moving around on us. So thank you so much. Don't forget to have your friends like, subscribe. If you're a new viewer, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We're going to be giving away some more stuff once kind of the world gets a little bit better. We're going to talk to our sponsors. Maybe we'll give away a set of AFCO shocks, or maybe BTE can throw some stuff in there. We'll lean on them to help you guys out as well. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.